Look at these paintings by Indian artist Syed Haider Raza, African-American artist Elma Thomas, American artist Agnes Martin, and Japanese artist Yayoi Kusama. All of them have some type of visible brush marks in their abstract works. Syed Haider Raza and Elma Thomas use these blocks of color and at times with different values to create their shapes. Yayoi Kusama and Agnes Martin use it as a repetitive, meditative painting process. For this task, let's particularly look at Agnes Martin and Yayoi Kusama. We will use the art principle of repetition with the simple compositional techniques of verticals, horizontals, and grid. Remember, this will not be a finished art piece, but is an exercise to build your awareness and skill. Spend about 20 minutes on this activity. Feel free to pause or rewind as you progress through.
Abstract brush techniques and skills, dabs and dots.
So I'm using the colors orange and blue since they are complementary. This means they are opposite on the color wheel, and it's an easy trick to create harmony in your work. I also have white in case I wish to create some different tints. Note the amount of paint I have taken and how I have placed the colors on my palette. They are along the edge, allowing me space to mix my colors should I need to. I'm using tempera paint, but if you are using acrylic, you would do the same thing. I'm also going to use these two brush sizes. In our sketchbook, or on a thick piece of A4 paper, we're going to use half. We're going to divide the area in thirds, with each section exploring a different technique. I'll mark this with a pencil. You don't have to, but remember to keep it in mind. In the first section, we will make some equal repetitive marks. In the second area, we will paint repetitive loops. And in the third, we will apply dots using bristles as well as the brush handle. Using the larger brush, mix some white with some orange and cover half the page. Using the other round brush, take a small amount of blue. In this first section, we will experiment making meticulous and repetitive marks with 2 to 3 columns going down, all in the same size and the style of Agnes Martin. We'll aim to keep the marks consistent in size. Note how the paint is only applied to half the bristles. Watch how I apply paint to make the brush mark. I make the first mark applying equal pressure. Since it's a round brush, you see the starting side of the mark is curved, whereas at the end it is flat. To reload the next shape, I flip my brush over to use the other side. I reapply the paint to both sides of the brush every second mark. I'm going to do the same going down each column, trying to make the marks very similar. Agnes Martin would actually draft out these shapes in pencil with a ruler, but we are just exploring. Do try to keep the shape and size consistent. Once we finish one column, move on to the next, doing the same thing. In this next section, we will paint circular loops similar to Yayoi Kusama. Using the round brush, apply the paint as before. We will make repetitive loops, allowing the orange underneath to show through. Similar to the previous activity, we will make these circular marks and work our way horizontally and then go on to the next line. We can be a little bit more loose than the Agnes Martin technique. One note of interest when painting with tempera is you start with the lightest colors and work your way up to the darker ones. This is because the paint is water-based, and often the lighter colors will not cover the darker ones. With acrylic paint, it is the opposite. In the last section, we will simply put repetitive dots using the bristles, as well as the handle. Using the round brush, apply repetitive marks to get a sense of the difficulty, ease, or limitations the technique poses. Depending on your brush, you could also use the handle to apply pattern marks. We can explore filling this area in with pattern dots and also experiment with different sizes. Here I have a Q-tip, and I could do the same thing. You could also try experimenting with the unused end of a pencil. Look at the 3 different areas we just completed. Note how the 3 different sections all convey different types of marks and moods. As an artist, this is something you would want to keep in mind. You may prefer the look of one over the other. You could also decide how to build the technique into a composition, or use the meditative or pattern techniques as the focus. Do check out some of the other videos in the playlist, which is linked above now in the video. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it informative and gained some insights. Feel free to subscribe, hit the like button, or leave a comment, question, or future video suggestion below. This has been a video production.